All right, welcome to this month's episode of No Budget. This month's episode of No Budget. Welcome to this month's episode. Welcome to this month's episode of No Budget, the show for filmmakers with no budget by filmmakers with no budget. That was close enough.
It was close. All right, yeah.
All right. Well, this month we have me, your usual host, Milo Dennison, Adrian Heffernan, your other usual host, and our apparently rotating host this month is Cathal, who's normally our guy in the shadows with the little stopwatch letting us know when our time is normally going to run
Finally out of the shadows, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my big chance.
Now people can put your face to the name whenever we talk about you. So Adrian, tell us about the new set.
Well, I think anything like this is probably a bit of an iterative process, you know? So we just want to kind of, look at quick ways to set up the show and how to simplify it and just kind of get, a simple, reliable product. So we decided to go with a bright white background. So we'll see how that looks.
So let us know how it looks, folks.
Yeah, leave a comment, that kind of crap.
Okay.
If it needs more work for Adrian, it doesn't matter.
All right, let's talk films or filmmaking news. Cathal,
Well,
you came prepared.
I did. So I just want to talk about how films that really tank at the box office ever actually get made. Because we work in low budget, no budget films, and nobody sets out to make a bad film, but obviously it happens. But when there's so many people involved and so much money involved, and it takes there's a very involved process, you'd wonder how it gets so far. It gets to the cinema screens, and then it just loses loads of money. You think there should be steps along the way to say, okay, this is not going to work.
That's a really interesting question.
Yeah.
I mean, I sometimes see stuff like Sharknado.
Well, I saw that. I mean, there is an outlet for those type of films, and the Spy TV, whatever it's called, the TV, those.
Maybe that's
Spy
what
TV.
it just amazes me
And,
when I see it.
I get text from a friend of mine. Sharknado 2 is on, But that's like a parody. That's
They made
so
a third one now too,
ridiculous.
by the way.
Pardon?
They have a third one out now.
Do they?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's a trilogy. It's got to be a
But
trilogy.
it doesn't take itself seriously. That's the difference.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't try to be a big budget,
Yeah.
mainstream film. It's like, look, we know this is bullshit, and we're having fun.
Well, the one I want to point out is from called Cutthroat Island. Now I googled this, and seemingly it is the biggest grossing loss of all time for any film.
Wow. So
So it lost $89 million. It was 1995, which adjusted for inflation is $138 million. So it's the production company, Caralco, which had made Rambo series, Terminator, Total Recall, went bankrupt after it.
Wow, just
Just on the one film.
Wow.
Like it was supposed to be a vehicle for Gina Davis, and then people just started pulling out. Michelle Pfeiffer pulled out. Michael Douglas pulled out, and then she tried to pull out.
Michael Douglas pulled out of Gina Davis.
Yeah. You said it, not me. So then it was beset by production problems. They built 2 life-size galleons. They had one set in Malta, one in Thailand. There was logistics of that.
yeah.
A cameraman broke his leg.
That probably happens.
A pipe burst, spilling raw sewage onto set. And one guy was fired, and then half the rest of the crew walked out in protest. So it was just a disaster. But I mean, they went ahead anyway because they got so far that they couldn't stop.
Yeah.
Side note, but completely related. I worked for Starbucks once, and we had a sewage pipe break, and so we had sewage all over the floor in the Starbucks that we had to clean up.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, exciting noise. So
Did
first
they not get
question.
professionals in to do that.
If that was in Ireland, everybody would have sued.
If it was in Ireland, no, you'd sit like 3 weeks of calling your property manager and telling them that something broken needs to be fixed, and they'd be like, "Well, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it."
No,
You have so much bitterness.
If somebody fell over a coffee cup here, it'd be litigation. So
Yeah,
raw
it would
sewage,
go
I
that
think.
way, yeah.
That would bankrupt Starbucks.
Yeah.
All right.
They'd pull out.
Yeah.
To your film, have you seen it?
Have I seen Cutthroat Island?
Yes.
No.
Okay, just for the drinking game.
I watched 10 minutes of it one time.
Okay.
Okay, well, I have seen it, guys, because I am a well-educated film person.
Wow.
And I honestly, I didn't hate it. I mean, it's certainly not a good movie, but it's just kind of a mediocre pirate film starring Gina Davis that I thought was fine.
Yeah, I can't say because I didn't watch a whole lot of it, but they're interesting enough that there are certain films that started off that didn't do well, and actually subsequently, particularly when TV came along, did quite well.
Yeah.
And the prime example is The Wizard of Oz, which was initially a flop, apparently.
Oh
yeah.
gosh.
It's filmed.
Yeah.
Wasn't Blade Runner a bit of a...
I'm not sure. Well,
flop
yeah.
to start with. Fight Club was a flop.
Labyrinth was a flop, and
Yeah.
now it's people love it.
Yeah, it's quite funny that.
and the other one which nearly bankrupted the studio was Heaven's Gate. Michael Cimino, that he made the Deer Hunter, and then and footed that he got an open-ended budget, and he nearly bankrupted United Artists.
Deer Hunter is an overrated film. If we're gonna ever do an overrated film list, Deer Hunter.
Really?
You don't think so? Have you seen it?
Yeah.
You
like
have?
it. I like
Oh.
That's a good film.
It's a good film. It's just not as great as everybody thinks it is. Like,
It's a lot of people have seen it, but that was a very iconic film from the 70s.
Yeah.
No.
Of all the kind of the Vietnam films, I suppose that would be one of the.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's a bad film. I'm just saying it's overrated.
Yeah.
It's a 4-star out of a 5-star.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think back to the initial subject that you brought up, there's a lot of reasons probably, and it's because I think a lot of those things are ran like industries, big business. They're ran to make money versus make a good film. And so often they don't realize that they're making a crappy film. They've gone so far down the rabbit hole of putting money into it, it's impossible to okay, everybody just stop and be like, stop, okay, stand back, this movie's not good, how can we fix it? And, they're just looking at it by the numbers. Okay, we've got Gina Davis, who's super popular right now, which she was in the mid-90s. We've got pirates, we've got action, we've got this and this, and, we check our list, and we're good.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to be the voice that says, maybe not.
But I'm sure a lot of it is people actually don't believe it. It's, they
yeah.
are invested in it. I think, this is great, they're yes people.
Oh, absolutely.
And I mean, there is that formulaic element. Like, you've got the star, you've got, the budget. Surely people will like it, So, yeah, it's hard to step back and kind of assess whether...
Star Trek.
Sometimes who knows,
Look, J.J. Abrams made a new Star Trek movie. It must be great.
Yeah. Oh, God. Oh,
Sorry, it's been a few episodes.
I actually like that Star Trek. I'm going to dissent here.
The whole thing of Luke Skywalker's in it,
Oh, Star Wars?
Yeah. I think he's in it for the last 3 seconds in this really kind of...
But supposedly he's in the new one, or the next coming out one.
Yeah, would he been in that for 6 seconds?
Yeah.
And that epic scene where she's handing him back the lightsaber, and they drag it out so long, it's actually, for God's sakes, will somebody just take the goddamn lightsaber?
Yeah. Okay. Totally agree with you. Major studios, I think most people think half the stuff they turn out is crap anyways, but the problem is people go watch it. So, I don't think, here's the thing, people potentially use that film also as another argument why you can't have women starring in films, or why they don't deserve the same salaries as men, is because they make crappy films like that, and it's like, oh, well, it was starring a woman, so clearly that's the fault. And no, it wasn't the fact that it was starring Gina Davis that made it.
Yeah, obviously Alien.
Alien.
Yeah,
exactly.
that was a great film.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take a quick break. Yeah, I wonder, do you think we can show a preview of that, or will we get in trouble?
Yeah, sure we
with it?
can. Yeah,
I would imagine if it's
I'm sure they'd be delighted.
Anybody want to see a preview of?
Maybe not in the context we're showing it.
Well, he said it's not that film. So
Okay, yeah.
You can judge for
So
yourself.
it's actually a
people.
balanced review now.
Yeah, exactly.
Two people who haven't seen it, when
Okay.
you've seen 10 minutes,
Yeah,
I've seen none.
If I were to go Deer Hunter or Cutthroat Island, I would go Deer Hunter.
Oh, thank God.
You
Oh,
know,
thank God,
that's-
that would have been the end
I'm
of the
not
show.
saying it's on the same level as
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
but it's certainly not as bad as everyone makes it out to be.
Well, let's roll it there and see what
Let's
people
do it.
think.
Okay. you go, guys. That's a preview for Cutthroat Island. You watch it and make up your own mind on whether or not it's worth, it's...
Whether it's worth its loss.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's talk about something else, guys. So, it's in the news, Brexit. How is Brexit
Ooh.
going to affect the Irish film and television industry?
Gosh, that's an interesting point.
It might be beneficial because
To the Republic.
Yeah, because a lot of the companies, a certain amount of them might decide if they want to be in the European Union, just to move over.
EU-funded films, yeah.
A lot of stuff is filmed in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, Vikings.
Vikings is shot down here.
Oh yeah, is it? Okay, well they might say Vikings is
shot out in
down
Ashford, yeah.
Okay.
But we did have Ripper Street. We did have what was that? Penny Dreadful.
Penny
that was shot
Dreadfuls,
here.
yeah.
So there is definitely an established kind of film industry. Whether we'll get a bit of a benefit from the Brexit. I mean, the Brexit thing is just so unbelievable. I almost just want to talk about kind of
Talk about Brexit.
how shocking that was.
Yeah.
But I think probably it's not going to be great for us economically, but if we got a bit more in the film industry, that'd be
specifically to do with the film industry. I know they're over there. They're really worried about it, because a lot of European funding is not going to be available anymore.
Well, that's exactly it, because basically from what I was reading, they get a lot of funding for the industry from the EU. And so if they're cutting that tie, where's that going to go? Why not a little hop over the water?
Yeah, so easy.
Mm-hmm.
And we're friendly. We're Irish and we're friendly.
That's right. Bring it on over.
I'm sure it'll be part of the negotiations.
However long they last.
Yeah, it'll be a long time. You never know, though. I mean, people talk about uncertainty, and this is greater uncertainty. So when they're planning, like looking at their budgets and planning their future, they might say, okay, we'll just. It's a much easier decision to move across to Ireland or wherever. Malta. Apparently, Ireland is not the only English-speaking country in the European Union. After Britain leaves, Malta is as well.
Okay, so they'll be like, let's film in
Goddamn
Malta.
Maltese. They're always getting in our way.
But how's their English accent or their American accent in Malta? Can they do that?
We're going to have to check that out.
Yeah.
It's better than yours, man.
Well, because I think that's an advantage to shooting here, right? I mean, because it's pretty easy for an Irish person to do an American accent. For the most part. I mean, not that you guys. But
I'm so glad you didn't ask us to try.
But often I find people who can. So,
Yeah.
So, perfect. Next question for the panel.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it's going to be so...
How has digital changed and cameras have changed filming? For example, since now you can shoot the same scene over and over again, not worrying about film, how would you say that has changed filmmaking? And what made me think of this is I'm reading a book by Robert Rodriguez. His he wrote it years ago, but when he made El Moriarty,
Sherlock Holmes again.
Yeah, but he made it with $7,000, but it was shot on film. He did everything, and because of that film, he got an agent with one of the largest agencies in Hollywood. He had a major career coming in, and his intent with that film was just to make it go straight to video, and that was his plan with that film, and it got picked up for something great.
I think the question is a great question. I think that, it really relates to photography as well.
Yeah.
That kind of idea of pray and spray.
Yeah.
You just there's no cost to shooting, so you're just banging away, hoping that something magical happens. Whereas if you've got 36 frames in your camera, you're going to really take time to make sure that it's the right composition, you've got the light right. It's and so there is just that kind of shoot and hope that it's great. Whereas if you're actually, the minute you roll, it's costing you money, you're going to really, really plan the scene, plan the angle, and there is just that unfortunate side of, because it's free, people don't feel like they need to prepare everything. They don't need to take the time to set up lights, set up there's a real kind of, it might just be, it might just work. But
that's one of the things he talks about, is because he mapped out each scene well in advance, so he knew exactly what he was going to do. And so most of his scenes for El Moriarty are one take. And it's an action film that he got all these scenes in one take, and it's just beautifully done. And now, and I don't know, do you think that's made filmmakers worse, the fact that they don't have to think about it as much?
I don't know, I'd say it's you maybe get more bad films, but you see a lot of good stuff out there as well. We did his shorts night now, and some of the the standard, the quality is really high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's also kind of crappy. I mean, I've certainly done a few shorts myself.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see the point. I'd say
You know.
there's a lot more preparation.
I suppose the truth is, it's very, very easy to make a shit film now.
Yeah, that's
You
it.
know? And yeah, if you want to take the time and preparation,
Yeah.
you know.
So then that, I guess, leads to the next question then. Storyboarding. Do you even really need it anymore? I mean, you used to storyboard. For anyone watching, storyboard, little pictures to kind of map out the thing. You used to really need to storyboard for part of that reason is the fact that you're shooting on film, so you need to know well ahead of time what you're doing. Now, you know, maybe you don't need it because you can show up and be like, well, this is what I pictured. We'll shoot this. It doesn't look good. Let's move the camera over here.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
I think it's still beneficial. For
Do you use it?
I have. Most times I don't now, But you kind of regret it then afterwards. You go, oh, shit, I meant to do this, and you didn't.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree with you. I think the storyboard really allows you kind of know what you want before you arrive on location, and as a result, then there's not that element of kind of, oh, let's try it this way, let's try it that way. It's like you know what the shot is, you know exactly what you're expected to do. Kind of if you're lighting it, if you're setting up the camera angle, it's really evident. You've got the storyboard, and you might go, well, maybe we try it this way, that, but you really are.
And also
you're all
the
of the
process
same vision
of creating it. It makes you think about it a bit more as well.
Yeah, if you're directing, do you do your own storyboards or do you have somebody else do them?
Get somebody else to do it. Yeah,
Well.
basically.
How?
I have done there's not a storyboard, but there's you can just describe it, scene by scene, how you want it to look. I've done that without drawing it.
More of a shot list than a...
Yeah, kind of a shot list, but
Okay.
I forget the name of it now. But it's broken down scene by scene, and you say, where you want the cameras, where you want the lights, what you want the actors to be, where they are in relation to each other.
I think people feel really intimidated by storyboarding because you've probably seen a professional storyboard and it's like a graphic novel.
Yeah.
And you go, oh yeah, that'd be great, but it's like there's no way you can get that.
No
There's
way you
a-
do stick figures.
But that's I think stick figures. That's the way to do it. If you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
draw it, all you need is a stick figure with perspective and kind of anybody can storyboard.
Yeah.
I've seen some really nasty storyboards that were really effective.
So if you're not creating your own storyboard, how are you relaying what you want
Well, you can
to
do
the person who's doing the
in
storyboards?
conjunction with somebody.
So you're sitting down with them
Yeah.
at the same time?
Yeah.
All right.
Teamwork.
So that leads to our next
Yeah,
one.
you could even visit the location beforehand with a camera and just take an awful lot of the shots with a stand-in. That'd be a perfectly valid way to do your storyboard. If you have access to the location, you can just kind of take out your mobile phone, snap, 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 lay them all out, and you know exactly where you're going and a few descriptive words underneath.
That's a good idea because you could potentially just make the equivalent of a contact sheet.
Yeah.
You got your pictures that
Yeah,
you've taken on the
totally,
location,
totally.
you throw them into a contact
yeah.
sheet. Actually, I'm going to try that. Actually,
Awesome.
That's a good idea. Valuable tip, people, from this
I
guy.
knew it would happen if I just kept
Who
letting
knew?
shit come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Something useful would eventually come
Eventually,
out.
good to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you.
Who would have thought?
Eight episodes.
8 episodes in. Yeah. Okay, so that moves us then. Value of the shot list. How valuable is the shot list? Like, how useful do you find it? When you're
I haven't
shooting, do
used it
you
in ages.
literally go down and check to make sure you've got all your shots
It's
done?
actually, yeah, it is. Again, it's the same problem as before. When you haven't done it and you get to the end, you do, even if it's just small little incidental things. Oh, we missed that shot. Especially when you have time constraints. When you're in a rush, you're trying to get things done.
Yeah.
Which we are a lot of the time.
They can be long days,
Yeah.
They can be long, tiring days, and sometimes you can't keep it all in your head. It's a really good idea to have kind of anything you possibly can written down, anything that's going to assist you getting through and not, as you say, missing an essential shot.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think one of the reasons why I kind of brought these 2 points up is I've been on a few, shoots, and whoever is directing, they don't have any of this, and then they're spending time coming up with the stuff, or they get done and they're like, oh shit, I didn't get that. So do these things, people. That's my piece of advice.
And it also really, all of these things allow your kind of crew really know what's happening step by step through during the day. You finish on one shot. If they know where they're going next and what they're doing, they'll just start to set that up instead of you having to kind of dictate to everybody, actually, we're moving on, things can flow.
Yep. All right, well, we are out of time. Since I don't have the microphone on the table, I can smack it.
Oh, wow.
keep tuned, subscribe, tell your friends to subscribe, all the normal crap that we usually say at the end of the show. But most importantly, stay tuned to see what our set might look like next time. And who our third person might be. Will it be somebody who's been on the show before, or will it be somebody new? The anticipation.
Wow, I know. I'm excited already.
Me too. All right, that's it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.